open this up in prayer, and then we'll kind of set the table for what we hope to accomplish tonight, and take the meeting from there. So, Father, we thank you. We love you. We're all here because you brought us together, and so we're just grateful for this church. We're grateful for these families and these the students that are represented in this room tonight. And so we just give you our time today. Holy Spirit, we invite you into this room. We've navigated some challenging stuff, and Lord, we just pray that you would help and that you would continue to fill us with a spirit of wisdom, of unity, and that we would best be able to continue to lead these students to know you, to love you, to experience just biblical community in a way that progresses them towards you and into a faith that's deeper in you, and doesn't in any way cause them to have wounds from church. And so we just we give you this time, and we love you, we honor you, in Jesus' name, amen. Y'all come on in and feel free to grab a seat. We've got kind of an agenda of things that we were hoping to talk about tonight. And the bottom line is, and I'm going to go back through and kind of talk about what's happened over the last couple of months, but the bottom line is, over the last couple of weeks, I've spoken to a few families here at the Dream Center that out of what has happened have felt like there was a gap in care and concern and support for the people who have been affected by what's happened. And so I want you to know I'm here because I love you guys. We're here because we love you guys, and we want to help, and we want to lean in. And so that's the bottom line. And what we thought we would do is backtrack. And by the way, I'm not here to defend myself or the church. I really am not. And so that my goal tonight is to have a meeting where we can talk, we can learn from each other, and we can move forward in a way where we're united and where we're best caring for the people who have been involved and have been hurt in this process. And so that's my heart. That's my goal. I even had heard some conversation about that I was protecting the brand of Seacoast, and I just want you to know that in 35 years, that's never ever been a thought to me or a goal of mine. My goal, no matter what circumstance we deal with, is to figure out what is the right thing to do, move towards that, and let God take care of the brand of Seacoast. So I'm just telling you that to say that, like, you don't have to believe me, but I want you to know my heart is to help, and that's why we're here. And so, as most of you know, but because we haven't gathered in a forum like this, I figured I would go over in as much detail as I can and as I think is wise to do, kind of what happened and where we've been since then. And I'm going to introduce some of the people up here so we can talk some about not only our expectations and guidelines for what we're hoping to accomplish with your students here in the ministry and how we're trying to safeguard your students in the ministry, but also kind of where we're going. And but I got the call, it was on a Monday night, and I don't remember the exact date, but from somebody on our team saying that we had been contacted by a school guidance counselor that they had a student that had come in and spoken to them and had concerns about stuff that had happened between them and Vern, who was our youth director at the time. And I don't know if he was the pastor or director. But so anyways, as soon as we heard that, we put Vern on leave and began to just explore and try to find out what was going on. The next morning, we met with a couple of families, and it confirmed what we heard in this report from the school counselor. We also reviewed video footage that we have. We have cameras that keep footage on rolling 30 days, and so we just looked back and we observed confirmation of what we heard from this person. And I don't want to go into great detail, mainly because out of respect for the people involved, but just to be clear, this wasn't, he didn't steal money. I want to make sure we understand. He was violating boundaries that we have put in place to safeguard the relationships we have between students and adult leaders. And that would include phone calls one-on-one, which I know John will probably talk about this in a little bit, but we do group texts for communication stuff, but we would never expect an adult leader to be texting a student of the opposite sex for any reason, one-on-one. Like that's in our standards, all that stuff. So that was happening. There was instances of him picking up and being in a vehicle alone with girls in the youth group, which is a total violation of our standards. And then on the video, what we saw is just inappropriate touching. He and again, I don't want to go into great detail, but just repeated. It was not like one time there was an accidental brush against somebody, but just a repeated habit of inappropriate contact, where you might expect a side hug to be okay. It would linger beyond that. And if it happened once, you might be able to say, okay, maybe that was incidental or accidental, but we were like, wow, this is kind of a repeated deal. And so we immediately, so that was Tuesday morning, we immediately brought Vern in, talked with him about it, and terminated his employment here because it was just, to us, very obvious breach of our standards. We also had, you guys come on in and grab a seat. We just got started. As soon as that happened, I was up here. I came up here and met with Pastor Sam and Pastor T, and we got on a call at noon on Tuesday with our elders at the North Charleston Campus to let them know what had happened and to ask them to be praying and also to ask for some guidance on how we would move forward. And by the way, in saying all of this stuff, when I think back, I think we could have done some things differently. And so I'm not presenting this as building a case that we've handled this perfectly. We haven't. I don't think we have. We've tried to do our best, but I'm not telling you. I'm just trying to kind of give you guys a bit of what's happened and where we are today. And so, so then throughout that week, we began to hear from several other families. We had our attorneys at the church contact the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office, which was who had contacted us, to let them know that we had terminated his employment. They had apparently, according to the student, the counselor from the school, they had contacted Berkeley County already. So we just called them to let them know we will comply with anything that you need. We'll give you anything that you need. And to my knowledge, I have done that as they've asked for stuff. I don't know if Vern committed a crime. I know that our guidelines and our standards are well before you would commit a crime, obviously. I hope the church would hold our people to a higher standard than the law would. So I really don't know, but if so, that will be determined by the people who determine those things. And so we just did that. And then that weekend, Sam and Joan and Lisa and I came up here to the campus and spoke with, just made ourselves available to speak with whomever we could speak with. I know I spoke with a few families up here about it directly. That weekend, Tamilix led the custom students and shared that Vern was gone. Where I think I feel, again, the families that knew what was going on, we've done our best to talk with them, but I also know there are a lot of students that didn't know what was going on, just knew that their beloved youth leader was now gone. And I don't know that it's sometimes hard to figure out at what level to communicate, and I don't know that we did all of that great. And so I'm just going to tell you that right now, but we did have a meeting with the students that weekend, and then we sent an email out the next week to parents saying that we would have members of our executive team up at the campus the following weekend to speak with them. And I know Sam and Jenna and John were up here, and so that and then we've offered counseling of 10 weeks of counseling for the families that have been involved as well, and just hoping that those girls will be able to speak with actually licensed professional counselors to help make sure that they process through that in a healthy way. And I'll also say that 10 was kind of the number that we picked, but if there's any situation or circumstance where you guys feel like there needs to be more, we're more than happy to continue to do that. That's just, as an effort to care for those girls. And that's not all that has happened, and I know that there have been, lots of conversations that the teams had with individuals, but that's kind of what I know. And then again, a few weeks ago, I got some communication that expressed frustration or expressed that there was a gap, and that's why I said let's just have a meeting, let's connect. Again, not to defend, but to let you guys know what we've done to this point, how we've tried to respond, and then obviously we've hired Stacy, which I'm grateful for, to step in and lead our students. Come on in. What's that? Okay, gotcha. So two things. Number one, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. We are in this to, as you know, help people grow in their relationship with Christ. That's the sole purpose why we started this church, why we moved to Mount Pleasant 35 years ago, is because we wanted to help people grow in their relationship with Christ. And the fact that this happened, I'm just sorry. I really am. That is, it was heartbreaking for us to see that happen, and so I'm sorry that it happened, and I'm here because I genuinely want us to help. I'm like, if there are people that need specific things, that like, we want to help, we want to serve in whatever way we can. Here's what I'm not trying to do. I know there are some who have told me and others that they're leaving the church as a result of this, and frankly, I understand. I'm not standing in judgment of that. I understand that. I understand how that something like this could make you do that, and so that's okay. I'm not here to win anybody back over. I just want to know how we can best care for these girls and these families as we move forward. Also, we have a student ministry that we're trying to continue to reach and move forward and reach students for the gospel. So number one, I'm sorry. I'm angry. I'm angry at the enemy. Vern's not the enemy, although Vern did stupid things. But I'm angry that the enemy got in, and I feel like this is an area where he would love to drive a wedge and create division and turn us against each other and all of that stuff. And so I'm angry at him, and I want to do everything that we can to be open up front and to help, and then to just find a way forward together to best care for these girls. And so, and I say girls because to my knowledge, those interactions only happen with girls that are in our youth group. And I'm the lead pastor of the church. That's the hat that I'm wearing tonight. I'm also a dad of 2 students in custom, and one that will be in custom in a couple of years. And so, it's not been hard at all for me to go, okay, how would I want my kids to move forward, and if they were involved in it. And so that's the lens from which I'm looking at it. And so I don't know if I did a great job of explaining kind of what happened, but for the person who might not have been aware, that's what we've been dealing with, and that's why we moved forward, or moved Vern on and off of our staff, and how we kind of got to this point. And I think what we'll do before we have questions, and by the way, we'll be here, I know Sam, I don't know what y'all have going on, but I'll be here as late as anybody wants to talk and to ask questions and any of that stuff. But what was next on our agenda? Sandy, anything you want to add to it?
No, the only thing I would add, obviously I raised my kids in custom and been here 30 years, and now I got grandkids coming up and through custom, and our heart is to do the right things. I think the thing we got to unite around, one of the things we got to unite around is the gospel. And because a gentleman I talked to today, he's like, Pastor Sam, they said that you said this, and Vern still works here at the church. I'm like, Vern was gone within 24 hours he wasn't at the church. But yet we got stories that Vern's still on staff here. And so part of tonight is like, let's get the real stuff going. And there's some things that we really don't need to discuss, right? Because some of your children are affected in different ways, and we want to leave that to where they're healing. But at the same time, man, know that, I look at this group, and I look at out here, and I look at some great, great leaders that we have, volunteer leaders that have been here for, 10, 15 years, and go, man, we're all trying to do the same thing, which is love on the babies all the way through the old people, right? We're trying to love on everybody and share the gospel and help everybody in their walk with Christ. And so the mission hasn't changed, man. We're here together. And I think, I love Hanahan, right? But you know, it's called what, nickname is Clanahan, right? You know, so we got some closeness.
Easy.
But we gotta make sure that the stories don't morph. You know, it's like that old telephone game. When you say the story and it gets through this crowd, it's something different at the end. And to me, that's what, you know, hopefully tonight we can clarify.
Well, yeah,
hey, man,
my
this is
goal the
where
whole
we're at.
time with what happened was to not try to understate what happened and not try to like it's just, it is what it is, and it's bad, and it was clearly a violation of a lot of the things that we had put into place, and so for us, it was not a tricky decision once we knew what was going on whether or not Vern was gonna stay on our team. That happened very quickly. What's not as, maybe where we have needed wisdom is like navigating, the conversation from there and making sure that we're caring well for every family. And anytime somebody leaves staff at Seacoast, we don't get up and announce the why and the dirty details of it, and most of the time there aren't dirty details of it, but we try to, you know, navigate that just with wisdom, and so you know, that's where it's been hard. But John Holm leads our custom students, and we thought maybe you know, add to share some of the vision for what y'all are trying to do, and how we're trying to, you know, prevent this kind of thing from happening again. That's definitely one of the things we hope out of this, is that we would learn any lessons that can help us make sure that for any other youth group, for any other situation, that something like this doesn't happen. So
yeah, so about 10 years ago when I got here, realized that there was kind of a little gap in some of our training of youth pastors, and so we created a thing called the Culture Book. Basically, it's just helping to train our youth pastors along with our volunteers on the do's and don'ts of working with minors. So inside of that culture book, and I'd be more than willing to send it to you if you email me. I can email it to you so you can see it. But inside of that culture book, there are guidelines of how to interact with, you know, students, how to interact with leaders, how leaders should interact with students. You know, the never alone policy, the always serve in twos, so that way every new youth pastor conversation I have is always the fatherly talk of you need to guard yourself because the enemy would love nothing more than to take you out. And so one statement about you will ruin your life. And so that's kind of the conversation we have, and I had that with Vern. We've had that conversation with every youth leader, every staff. That just protect yourself. Don't be alone with them. Don't, you know, all those things in that inside the culture book. And so we have those in place. We've actually even tightened up more of our policies because we just want to safeguard your kids and also safeguard our staff. And so it's really for the safety of all involved. So I can answer some of those as we have question and answer. I can answer those. I don't know necessarily what you're wanting answers on, so it might be easier if some of the questions are asked. I can kind of speak to them.
sure. Awesome. T?
Y'all know that I literally took over this place 7 weeks ago, right? And there is absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do for any of your kids. And I don't care who it hurts. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And my issue with everything is that there's so many things that were done wrong on all sides. Like, I really wish that he wouldn't have done anything. I really wish that all the rules would have been followed, but they haven't been, and I apologize for that. But I also know that there's a lot of people who, like, we gotta I just hope everybody knows that everything is gonna have a kingdom impact. Everything that we do from this moment on. And we're gonna do all that we can to do the right thing. And this is what I'll tell everybody in this room. I know there's been some people who said that we're not cooperating. I have been nothing but cooperative. I have given more information to people that I even had to give. My own personal information. Because I love your kids. And I have nothing to hide. And we have nothing to hide. Because unfortunately, we didn't do anything wrong. We were just sitting here trying to pick up the pieces.
Neither did our children.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. Before I was a pastor, I was a dad of a little girl. And if I was sitting on the other side of this, I asked myself, what would I want to see done? I would want to see that person removed. We did that. I would want to know that the church did something to prevent this from happening. We hired Stacy. We hired Dylan. There's no reason for a guy to call a girl or a girl to call a guy. I wanted my kid to be taken care of. We provided counseling, and we will continue to provide counseling. I would want to be involved. We would love nothing more than to have y'all come and hang out in custom and be a part of it. We've created family fun nights so that you have more opportunities to be around here. Like, we want you to be here on Tuesday nights. I want to have something on one nights for a parent to go, like the parents to get together. They'll sit up in the balcony and experience what their kids are experiencing on Sunday. Like, that's what I want. That's my vision. I want your kids to be able to find God, and I want you to know that they're in a great place. And then after that, I would want to be able to have access to the person making the decisions. And every last one of you have access to my phone number. If you don't, you can get it from at the end of this meeting. Like, outside of that, all I can give you is I'm sorry. Because that's all I have.
Yeah, I didn't mention that weekend that Sam and I were up here was also Jeff's last weekend here, and Tamilix's first weekend as campus pastor. And so, you know, for all that has gone on, when I think back about some things I wish we would have done differently, one of them for me is I wish I would have just said time out on the transition. Let's just let a couple, not forever, but for a month or two to make sure that, because transition is tricky anyways without something like this going on. And so I don't think that we you know, put T in the best spot week one to be navigating this. You've done a great job and you pastored well, and we love you and have full confidence in you. I'm just saying, like, I'm looking back going, if there's something that I could do differently or learn from this situation, you know, maybe we would have created a little bit more stability on the leadership side so that nothing fell through the cracks, or, you know, anything happened in that way. But again, I will never ask you to believe that I will make perfect decisions as your leader. I promise you I won't. But what I do ask is that you trust the leadership, that we're seeking God, that we have integrity, and that we're making the best decisions that we know how to make. And if you don't or can't, come talk to us. And if you still can't, find a place where you can. I mean, that's the bottom line, is that what I'm asking you is, or what I'm hoping that you would hear is that that's our goal. I have nothing to hide, nothing. As soon as we got that call, I know it was Jenna Young, who's our HR director. I know that I said we need to. I asked her what she thought, what our next steps were planned, and she said we're putting him on a leave of absence right away, and we're going to research and try to find out what's been going on. I know as soon as we had an inkling of information that indicated that he did what he had done, there was no question on whether we're going to do the right thing there. And so that's the bottom line. That's what I'm hoping that you will believe and see that in us. And I understand if you can't. That is okay. I understand that what happened is very difficult, and you guys are navigating your families moving forward. But those of you that can and are going to stay a part of this, our desire is let's do it together. Let's do this together. Let's build the next season together. Let's make sure we care for people together, and move forward. So, Rev, what else? I don't have notes. We kind of outlined an agenda of just things we want to make sure we talked about. But so that's why I'm asking these guys what we've missed.
Like I said, we addressed Vern that next morning. We got with the attorneys, we got with the police. The police have, you guys say, well, you haven't gotten the police. The police have been. They've taken our computers. They've gone through our emails. They've looked through our texts. So the things that weren't done, they were done. And so we know on our side, hey, things have been done. Now, some people have I mean, I'm sure we have a few lawsuits. Other people, it's unnamed. So we can't even, I love Trudy. I know Trudy don't have no young kids. Like, I don't know if Trudy, her kids are naming us or not. She don't even have kids, but our age. But it's like, there are some that are unnamed. So we can't just sit here and have a conversation because we don't even know if you're the one that is, that what happened. Or that it's a lawsuit or an attorney. So we're trying to have the individual conversations we want to help every which way we can. And at the end of the day, it's not about the burn or the lawsuit. It's about how do we help restore any of the children who were involved with this.
Yeah. As far as like moving forward, obviously we've brought Stacy on. Welcome to not the easiest. I don't know Stacy, personally well, but I know that you've been invested in these children for a long time,
Absolutely.
and will continue to be so. And so, do you want to say anything, or?
Well, T kind of took my points as far as like what it looks like moving forward, and I know that there has been conversation of, well, you didn't say this, and you didn't do this, and you didn't do that, and it's really difficult when you have some students that come this week, but they don't come this week, and you have students who come this week and they don't come this week, and it's like, man, I have said those things. We have been having those conversations. My leaders are in here. My leaders will tell you we've had, candle responses and being able to write it down, draw it out, put it on the cross, sit at the ground and just cry if you want to cry. I mean, those opportunities have been had, and they will continue to be had, and it is not just a one and done, and his name is not like some mystical name. Like, his name is allowed to be spoken, and we have kids that are still grieving, but I need you to understand that I still have kids who are walking in going, I don't even know who that person is. And I have other kids who are going, I'm ready to be done with this. I'm ready to move on. And so it is a tricky place to be in as a leader, to balance all of that. And we are, as a team, trying our best to meet every single one of them where they are. We are. And that's the goal going forward. And another thing that is our goal is that, we have a generation of kids who have idols, and we say to them all the time, now we say it all the time because we can see it. Listen, I don't want you coming up here for me. I don't want you coming up here for Miss Leah. I don't want you coming up here for Bonnie. I don't want you coming up here for Omar. I don't want you going to summer camp because so-and-so is not going. I don't want you going on a mission trip because so-and-so is not going, because that's not the goal up here anymore. The goal is I want you to know Jesus. I want you to come up here because this is the place where you feel Jesus. That's my heart for your kids. That's my heart. My heart is that they pick up their Bible and it's generational. It's foundational and it's generational for them, like that is the mission of Custom for us. That is where we want to go forward. That is what we want to preach to them. We want them to be able to create a foundation up here that changes generations to come. And so I know that some of you may not know me and some of you do know me, but that door is always open. My office is always open. I will give you my phone number as well. My heart is for your kids. Long before I even took this position, my heart has been for your students. All of these leaders up here have a heart for your students. We wouldn't do it if God had not placed it on our hearts. We wouldn't have.
Right.
This is a tough job.
And if you don't know Stacy, Stacy was a lay volunteer up until a few weeks ago. She has kids in the program. She's one of the group that cared about the kids. She volunteered up here on Tuesday nights and Sundays. That's just a key lay volunteer. And I know T came up through that way. I came up through that way. We just served in the church and loved being here, and then eventually came on staff. I look at Katie. Katie's the same way. Her and her family just come to church here, and then they serve like crazy and love the place and love the kids, and then came on staff. And, that's.
I don't know Stacy either, but I think we hired the right person.
No question.
Oh, thank you. And I think the other thing that I need you to understand too is the fact that as leaders, we're just as mad as you are. And we're just as sad as you are. And we've said that to your kids. You are allowed to be mad and sad at the same time. You can sit in both forms. And so, and we're at that point. We're still there. And that's, for us to be able to come from that place and say that to your kids, like, hey, I'm mad right along with you, or I'm sad right along with you, I think allows for communication to be had that I think some people think we're not allowing. I mean, we're grieving too. And so, yeah, that door is open for us. So.
What have we not talked about that you guys were hoping we talk about, or what comments or questions you guys have?
Why it takes so long to get here? Why are we having this conversation now? Why wasn't it the week that it happened?
We didn't know what happened the week that. I mean, we were still
We
getting
do.
information.
It's been 8
When
weeks.
you let him go,
Yeah.
We knew.
I would have liked to.
It's been
I
8
agree.
weeks. You've been
I
talking.
would have liked to heard on Sunday when I walked in. Luckily, people in my neighborhood, like you said, I don't know if I call it plan ahead, but I know it's a joke. But of course you were. But I had friends in my neighborhood that I heard about it from. I assumed I would hear about it Sunday, and I think some of it was because of that transition, that it was horrible timing, perfect storm. But if it was just said, this happened, he has been relieved of his duties, we were looking into it, I really would have appreciated that.
That's fair.
Because when I can't, like, if I didn't hear from my neighbor, I was gonna hear from my kids.
Yeah,
And that would have been very upsetting.
Some of to Stacy's point, most of you, I love y'all, but most of the average church person comes to church 1.6 times per month.
I'm here every week.
Every week.
And you
The
talked with our
average
kids
church
about it the
person
first
comes
weekend.
once every 1.6, so we can announce it every Sunday and they can miss it for 4 weeks. you know?
No, but I'm not
But,
gonna argue with
you
that,
know,
that we did up here talk to the students.
They're minors.
But why not us, though?
They're minors.
Sir, why
We
not
sent
us?
an email, all the
Emails
parents.
are crap.
That
I have
was
some
our-
guys don't get
We
emails.
sent an email on the
Right
second
here.
sheet
Right here.
to every parent saying we would be available here, and I stayed here the next 4 Sundays.
But we don't know who you are. I've never seen you.
I
Like,
sat in a room
saw
and
you
cried
before.
with you, and you didn't address me for the next 4 weeks.
Josh told
I
me
sat in a
Sammy's
room and
been-
cried with
Sammy's
you when we
been here for
notified.
6 weeks.
Not
I
a
don't know
word.
who Sam Lefke is. Sam Lefke doesn't know who I am.
Well, we sent an email saying we would love to talk to you.
We had, and listen, fair, okay, I told you, I would, there are things I would do differently, I think I would have had this meeting sooner, and so that's.
Thank you.
That's fair, I mean, I'm not here to defend myself, and I'm here to learn. If something like this were to happen again, I don't fault you for wanting more and clearer and better communication earlier, and I think I was trying to answer, the why for me was, it was probably, we knew that day, and I hear what you're saying, that would have been a better way to approach it, is here's what we do know and here's what we're looking into. I didn't want to get a group of people together and not have information and not have information that I knew.
I completely understand that. I completely understand that. Here's the problem, though, right? He was removed from a situation, and then automatically those kids go to grief, right?
Yeah.
So that is when, hey, this is when we should go to a grieving situation. These kids don't know what happened, and they don't need to know, but they know that their leader is gone.
And the
Yeah.
parents should have
And
been
the-
in that conversation
That's
too.
that's the issue. There's a lot of hurt that we could have stopped at that very moment. At that very moment, we heard it instant. Hey, this is what happened. Well, here's what we're going to do from here on out.
Some of the girls
Emails,
were
text messages, they don't work.
contacted by some of the boys in the youth group saying that they made it up.
They were
Having to
liars.
defend what happened to them because people were not addressing it
Yeah, I
several
hate that.
times.
I hate that, and I do know that we've had, conversations with individuals, but I'll take that. I mean, that's something I would do differently, is I would gather you guys sooner, and so I apologize for that.
I just want to add to that I do understand the frustration. For me, was a little shocking to discover what happened or hear about what happened through my child. To me, was like, that has to be a bad joke. It literally is a bad joke. Like, I cannot, no, it's not happening. I pretty much went into denial. Like, it's just it's not true. But then she reassured me, and then she then spoke other things, and I'm like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, right? And so I just want to say, like, yes, I understand that maybe it was not the best way in the beginning, because maybe lack of information or whatever caused that we were not notified immediately or like this. But at the same time, I want to say, as a responsible parent, the first thing I did was reach out to Pastor T and to my daughter's leader. And the first thing I said was like, I heard this from my child. I need confirmation. what is going on. And as soon as I seek for the information, I've had the information. And I was able to help my daughter and my niece through the process. So I understand the frustration from both sides, but at the end of the day, there's a way, there's a solution, and I think we all need to strive to seek for that.
Well, thank you for that. And again, I think, I've always learned to, obviously with his employment, we move very fast because it's clear. I've always learned in complex situations to move slow. You never regret going too fast, but obviously I would do that differently. And I think in this age of information, and you shouldn't have heard that from your kids. So that's legitimate criticism that I'll receive, and we will, we'll get better for it. So
I reached out to T too. T, I love you, brother, but he was crushed.
yeah.
T was crushed.
You should have been who
He-
we had.
he was
couldn't do
crushed.
this by himself.
But here's the deal. When you reached out to me, did I not give you the truth?
I get
Absolutely,
it.
T. This has nothing to do
I
with
don't
you.
care.
Yeah, T, I wanna say that in front of
It's
everybody.
the- it's
T,
the-
you are amazing, and you are 100%.
It was the loss.
I hear you,
It was
but
the
you know what?
loss.
This is the job that I took.
Agreed.
But where's your
But
support?
you
Where's
gotta
your
have
support?
people help you, bro.
I hear you, but at the end of the day, and this is my heart, hear my heart. Like, because y'all are my people, right? I'm gonna hope that you're gonna come to me and ask me the question, and I'm gonna be able to give you an answer that you believe. And I understand that everyone is like, hey, they're not supporting you, but when you spoke to anybody else, did you get anything different than you got from me?
Did you
Much
feel
less.
supported?
Yeah, because on the behind the scenes stuff, like they're meeting with me, holding me as I cry. Because I, just like everybody else, I'm so mad. Because I, just like everybody else, has said, don't do this. Don't put yourself in a situation like this. Derek Bellamy is my best friend. That boy sat in a car with me for 20 minutes waiting on Derek to come home because we didn't want to walk in Derek's house and then someone see two adult males walking in his house. Like he knew better. Like he did. It's frustrating. But I will never take away from what I get what you're saying. I can definitely see how it don't look like that because it didn't come from big picture. But behind the scenes, they were loving on me.
That's what's important, is that everybody knows that T wasn't put up to dry. I'm still.
That's important, but that's not the only thing that's
It's
important.
not
Right.
the only
It's not.
thing,
It is- you're right.
absolutely. But and I'm sure you are too, I'm still really struggling with sad and mad.
It is.
I mean,
it is maddening.
it is.
It is maddening to know that someone that I poured years into, I can't even talk to.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I'm brand new, and my heart is
Welcome.
so so I just want to say I'm sorry for everyone who's been impacted and who's been here, and your kids have been a part of it. And so I cannot imagine what the people in this room are going through right now. I don't even know what happened, but someone called me today from the Welcome team, and I think I talked to you last week. It was like, I did Mount Pleasant a few years ago. It's way too big. I can't get connected. I'm gonna try this place 2-3 years later, and I have an 11-year-old girl. My heart is beating so fast because when I grew up Mormon, just random, but the church and my youth group was so important to me that they said, oh, there's a sisterhood meeting going on. But I don't know there was an email about custom and my child and her being involved in this is way more important than me. So I don't necessarily need to know what happened, but when my daughter is 11 years old, she's almost 12, she's in the 6th grade, and my biggest fear is rape, statutory rape, abuse, in any means. It's also having an idol, having an older boy disrespect her and not know that she's being disrespected. TikTok, my little girl was sucking a lollipop to a song that was explicit. And I explained to her what giving head was. I explained to her what the song meant. I explained to her that you doing that image and another person seeing you, that's what it means. That's what it means to suck dick. That's what it means to give head. That's what you sucking a lollipop means. That you don't have a pocketbook, you have a vagina, a male has a penis, nobody has to touch you. You don't listen to anybody that says you're beautiful and they can do whatever it is to you. So her being connected to a group of people to instill in her the same values that I've tried to instill in her by myself is important.
Yeah.
So to know that like this community that I've selected, brand new, the fact that I work for the government, and I appreciate talking in circles, right? I know you can't, because the tone of that, whoever scripted that email, the tone of this did not come through. So whoever scripted that email, the tone of this and absolutely in no way came through. So what they're saying to you about being transparent and being upfront, I can tell you 100% that the tone of that email in no way spoke to the seriousness of this email, of this meeting. In no way was it belonging to me. So the fact that you're coming in now, that's disturbing. So I need to know what happens on Tuesday nights, because I was excited to see Custom at 4:30 and there was a hangout for my child to be a part of. So what happens on Tuesday night? How many people are here? Like, are the girls taught integrity, divine worth, self-worth? Are they taught that you don't let a man touch you, you don't let a man talk to you? Are they being poured into that this is a safe environment, that they had to go to their guidance counselor at school, but they didn't come to anyone here? Like what?
I'll correct that. I can correct that. And not to interrupt you, I can tell you that I personally got blasted with texts from students because there was a safety in me. So I need you to understand that, and I immediately went to T and said, we got a problem, time out.
And told said child to talk to the counselor at the school.
Yes, and said, does your parent know? And that child said to me, my mom will lose it. And I said, it doesn't matter, your mom needs to know. So that's how this started, was I got a phone call on a Monday morning and I answered it. And so, yes.
Thank you for being that person.
Yeah, and I can tell you that I have other readers that are the same way. That is,
story.
and I'm sorry, but I can tell you that's what happened here. Tuesday Hangouts, to answer Tuesday Hangouts. Tuesday Hangouts are a fun time downstairs. There's basketball, there's board games, everyone is in the gym. We have about food, Trudy makes food for us. There are approximately, at any given time, between 5 to 6 leaders. We have about 12 to 13 kids that come. They can do their homework. They can hang out with their friends. We have a PS5 that or not a PS5, what's that thing? That switch? Oh, we have a switch that we bring. I don't know. We have a switch that comes downstairs. It is their time to either hang out with their friends, play basketball, eat, socialize, and just be. But there are leaders everywhere. There are leaders all over. We're sitting at the table with them. We're playing board games with them. We're playing basketball with them. Like, it is a time to hang out.
So for Custom, this is what the meeting, I thought it was like, oh, what's Custom all about?
Yeah.
So, like, when I was like growing up and we had this little creed or chant, and like, like self-worth and divine nature, and it was instilled to us like that stuff, like going to church, and that's what like our youth group was about. So your girls, are they like, I know, yeah, we get the Bible and that's great,
right?
But like, we're real world, practical, let's not talk in circles.
Yeah.
This is what giving head means. This is what a little boy says to you. Like, this is when an adult male comes to you and touches your thigh and it lingers. It's inappropriate. Like, are we like, does the church, like, are you pouring into these girls as well?
So I can tell you that we do have a message, and we break up into middle school boys, high school boys.
So back up, now you're talking about Sunday. So there's a Tuesday night, which is the hangout. There's the Sunday, which is church, and then there's small groups. So we have a variety of different stuff.
Yeah. And so Custom, on Sunday, what that looks like, we come up, we go downstairs for worship, we come back up here, we have a message. Right now, we're sitting in Exodus. We've been walking through Exodus. We went through Genesis, and I can tell you going through Genesis was huge because they were able to go, yeah, this guy messed up, but God still blessed them. This guy messed up, and God still blessed them. You know, like they were able to see that people messed up, okay? And so we're now in Exodus. We've been walking through Exodus. The last 2 weeks of Exodus, we will go into a more personal, kind of like worldly aspect of it, you know, about, oh gosh, I wish I had my thing with me. But the last 2 weeks are on an actual, like, day-to-day interactive kind of how their life is affected. And it's through a curriculum. It's Orange Theory. I can give it to you. You can see it. In my newsletter, I let the parents know that. This is where we're sitting for the whole month, so that if anytime you have a question, I can just go, here you go, this is yours. This is what we're going over. You can look at it all. But do we have personal conversations in there about some of those topics? If it is mentioned to us, my first go-to and their first go-to is to say, hey, have you talked to a parent about this? I think this might be one of those moments that we might need to pull mom and dad in.
Of course, I don't expect you
Yeah.
to be explicit with my daughter and explain it.
Yeah.
But I do expect that
Yes.
you pour into her
Yes.
about self-worth.
Sure.
If
Yes.
a male leader, I don't
Yes.
care if it's your youth leader, your dad, your uncle, I don't care who it is, Taylor, you are, if someone touches you, if somebody is doing something to you, like,
Sure.
it is wrong.
Yeah. Sure.
Like plain language, like not
Right.
talking in cryptic emails, like plain language for these people to understand and be able to apply. So how long did it go on before the young lady or group of girls felt comfortable coming forward?
I don't have an answer for that.
The day that it came forward, it was the next morning that he was removed from staff.
How long were they
My daughter went
subjected?
to a mission trip in LA and her life was changed.
How long ago was that?
That was, when did they go to LA? Last summer, June, July.
So over a year.
Also, she just came forward, right, Chris?
She, we had come from Somerville, Seacoast, Somerville, and she had a life-changing experience on that mission trip, and she wanted to start coming here. She came forward to her chorus teacher at Goose Creek High. That's who she told. They called me together. 12 other girls have come forward. There's a criminal sexual misconduct charges, 12 of them. She has been told, here's my question. See, the way things are done at Seacoast Somerville and the way things were done here, on a Tuesday night, she had, she loved it. She had a great time. Vern was calling her every morning at 7 to talk about baptism. In her deposition that she gave at D. Norton, he was also telling her that she needed to lose some weight. He took her shirt and pulled it and said, you'd be cute if this was tighter.
So, hey.
I know, but I'm saying all this is happening. I don't know. I'm thinking to myself, why is he calling her at 7? They're talking about baptism. Why is this happening? And how come no one knows? And then I lost her on a Wednesday night. I reached out to the leaders. I reached out to this mom. I'm like, where is my child? And how did she get there? I reached out. I have the text. No one, this mom who I hardly knew, I taught her kid, was like, oh, they went to custom on Wednesday. They're in West Ashley. There were some things going, it was loosey-goosey with the protocols. Very loosey-goosey. Night and day from what I was used to. But I'm trying to be a good Christian. I'm trying to, these guys know what they're doing. This is a little bit different of environment. I trust them. My daughter's life has been changed. Salvation is happening. This is what it's all about. This is going to be life-changing. She's coming in here. She talked to gang members in LA. She had a gang member in the cafeteria they had this whole conversation. It changed her life. She was ready and on fire for the Lord. Now she's wondering why Vern's working at Chick-fil-A. I walked in there on the day that she had a testimony to give at D. Norton. He's dancing with a blonde little girl at Chick-fil-A. Guess who gave him the reference Chick-fil-A told me that, Seacoast. He had a reference from Seacoast.
So,
I'd love to speak to that. Well, let me first of all say something. I'm sorry. What you're describing, I'm sorry. Like, I'm horrified that it was loosey-goosey
And then
and the guidelines
I don't talk to anyone personally. I've been keeping my mouth shut. I've just been watching her. She's been making decisions. She has decided to go back to Somerville. She is still, thank God, on fire for Jesus. But like, she doesn't want to come here. Some people have made her feel like she's making it up. She feels sorry for ruining this man's life. She's guilt. Meanwhile, nothing has happened to him.
Vern worked for Chick-fil-A before he came on staff.
I understand that.
Youth pastor.
he never stopped. He was working for Chick-fil-A while working here.
Okay.
He has never stopped working for Chick-fil-A.
So
I
that
did not know
reference
that
may
until
have
all of this
happened
stuff
a
happened.
long time ago,
He
but
worked
it
Thursday
definitely-
nights and then Saturday mornings in addition to working here.
Okay.
So when we let him go, he went full time there.
Okay.
We didn't give him no
That makes
recommendations.
sense.
Yeah. So
Or if we
anyways,
did, it was back when he was an SEU student many moons ago.
Yeah, that's what I suspected, because obviously we would not have given him a
That makes sense.
reference coming out of this. So, but bottom line is what you're talking about with the guidelines and the policies. Clearly, Vern violated those. And to your, what was your name, ma'am, in the back? Laura. I don't know if you were in here at the beginning of the meeting, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was talking here.
Oh.
Cambria? Ambria, okay. You just asked what happened, and again, happy to talk to you one-on-one as well, but to the best of my knowledge, which most of what we know came from you guys, and from, you know, our leaders, is inappropriate touching. That he would linger on hugs, he would rub his hand across girls' bottoms, he would, you know, that kind of stuff. And as soon as we realized that or saw that, and it would happen in the presence of their parents, it was like very, so anyways, that's the nature of what happened to our knowledge. And again, well as those phone calls I heard about him calling people
Car rides alone.
We found out about none of this. We knew any of this.
But that's my
until
point.
before that.
Like, why? Like, I'm a school teacher. Like, how does this how does it get that loose? I mean, why don't, like...
Part of why I wanted to have this meeting too is for John to talk about, here are and with that culture book, here are our standards for our leaders to know that, and to make sure if you ever see a violation of the standard that you come talk to us. We also want you as parents to know that if you ever get communication from an adult leader, one-on-one communication from adult leader, especially of the opposite sex, that is a clear violation of our guidelines and our policies with our student leaders. And so obviously any touching, complete violation. We did a training with our pastors on staff a couple weeks ago, and got to the silly but important nature of how to give a hug to somebody of the opposite sex. And just because we want to, I think this has helped us to see that what maybe we assumed was communicated or understood wasn't, or that it was just being violated. And
from our meeting on December 7th, I really thought this, when something like this happens, especially with your prophecy of the wave coming this year, and all this kind of stuff, okay, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And there's opportunities where you can learn and where you can make it better. But then when Dee Norton is telling me that y'all have given 3 videos and the rest have to be subpoenaed, I don't feel like you're on my daughter's side.
I'm unaware of that.
No. Again, there are a whole bunch of things that have been said that we have absolutely no idea about. And
I've told our team, we have 35 years as a church, we've actually never been sued. We've had times where people have gone into it, but I have nothing to hide. Give what we have, the video,
that's good to know.
That's the commander's intent. So I'd love to speak with the Dee Norton people to find out what's being held back and get into it. And obviously that my day-to-day is not pulling the videos down and interacting the Norton, but I'm happy to help if
It'd be
there's
North Charleston
stuff.
Police. North Charleston Police.
So let me apologize for one thing. I would say that they would tell you, sitting here, obviously, that it was a fail on not speaking out. I'm gonna apologize because I will say that it was my own pride thinking that hey, this is what happened would have been enough. It should have been them. Does that make sense? So, did they fail everybody? Yep. But I did too. Because I thought that my words held the same weight as theirs. But again, this has never happened. So we will definitely take that. We want you, we hear you, we're sorry, like our fault, 100%, owning all of it.
I just have 2 questions. If you can explain to me the email that was sent out by one of your pastoral staff that said he consulted with an attorney, and that's why a parent meeting couldn't happen. That email was sent to you.
That's from a meeting that I was in.
Well, so here's the deal there. One, we have an HR department who consults with attorneys to give us wisdom on next steps to take in situations like this. What I talked to my team about with that is the job of an attorney is to give you the safest steps to take, right? They're going to give you that's why you have attorneys, to give you the most conservative interpretation of what you should do. Attorneys may have told our team that we shouldn't do a parent meeting. Our job as leaders is to weigh the advice that we get from an attorney, which I'm grateful for a multitude of counselors and the wisdom that they can bring. Like, our job isn't to always follow the instructions of the attorneys. And so in that case, I would say that we probably were hearing advice not to, but we shouldn't have followed it. We shouldn't have listened to it. And so I think that
I came back from.
And that was weeks. I mean, that was over a month ago. That was almost 6 weeks ago. I've been asking and begging from December for a meeting. Tell people. I have called parents and parents and parents. I'm telling them, why are you guys not doing this before 9 weeks? Telling parents. I have called parents. I've given them the bad news. Talk to your kid. Here's what you need to specifically ask, because no one has said what to ask your kids. The email says, talk to your kids. Let us know. What do I say? Did Vern give him weed? Nobody knew to ask their kids, and I'm telling you, the kids blew it off because Vern was telling them how great they'd be in South Africa. So when he's speaking that over you, you believe it so he can rub your butt. And they don't know what to say. So I've been begging for this since December. Why did I meet with somebody a month ago and was told within a week, no, we can't because the attorney, and now here we are. 9 weeks later after all this came out, and now here we are. I'm angry. I'm so sorry. So angry.
And like I said, I wish we would have done that differently. I wish we would have done
Are you going to contact everyone? There are people, I know I know girls personally who have not told their parents.
What is your recommendation?
Tell parents what to ask. And I'm going to be really honest, I'm really tired of that question too. I'm the mother of an abused child from the church. My kid doesn't need to be asked what to do, and she's been asked, what should we do? She doesn't know, she's 16.
I'm asking because everything that we've done has fallen short of your expectations.
And that was at the parent meeting. Adam Martin and I came up with parent meeting, and that was it. And it was like, sorry, we can't do it. It's legal. Okay. What do you do next? Everything I've said or offered, I want you to reach parents and tell them what to ask their kids. You can say, it's alleged, it's accused. We don't know. I mean, I know. People have seen video. We know it's real, but you can say it's accused. But say it. We got to say it so that parents can help their kids. These kids are struggling.
Have we talked with parents about what happened, like on individual small, because I'm
no.
You guys picked up a phone and called parents. You guys have a whole staff. Mm-hmm. The day it happened, everybody at Mount Pleasant should have been on a phone with a North Charleston parent and telling them what happened. You guys have a whole staff to do that. Emails only go so far.
And they don't say what's going on.
Right.
Because that was not what I was coming here for. But sorry.
I'm just going to say, I work in sexual violence, and you don't want a staff of unqualified people answering these questions.
I didn't need them to answer a question. I didn't need them to answer any questions. I needed them to call me and say, hey, you need to talk to your kid because something inappropriate happened.
And here's what we're going to do to follow up. Here's what's next.
Yeah, I mean, you're wanting us to tell them inappropriate touching, not weed or whatever, and now you're just saying generalize it have a talk with their parents.
Did
And
I
so-
say touching? I said he was touching our kids inappropriately. That's what I said.
I think the bottom line is we're doing the right thing right now.
It's too late.
We all know.
It's not too late. It's real late. It's too late. It's real late.
Speak to being contacted by parents. I found out by my daughter as well. And I was quickly followed up with the details from Jeff Weinberger. And T reached out to me promptly. Jeff didn't withhold any information. He wasn't very general. He spoke clearly about it. And so, I mean, I didn't experience what y'all experienced. I'm so sorry that you had to experience that. And I know the whole situation is frustrating. But I just want to say and let you guys know that there's not while there is some work to be done to streamline and get, work so that we're better together going forward. What I experienced was a kind of a flawless chain of communication and follow-up. More follow-up than I would have expected or even asked for. So I just want to let you guys know that happened as well. And I wanted to speak to your concern or question about how things are run here. One thing I've experienced, we live around here, we've been coming for 10 years. Relationship is kind of core here, and I think Seacoast wide, it's kind of some people have called the church kind of for onboarding or seeker sensitive or whatever you want to call it, but I would call it relational church. And that said, my daughter was taken in by Stacy as a volunteer long before she came on staff here, and I know that the relationship that was fostered there has created some serious conversation. Not much different than what you'd like to have your kid engage in and understand her self-worth and to be able to challenge culture when it comes at her. And I think Stacy, for always being transparent with my daughter respectfully, we've given her some liberty because we trust her and know her personally. But she's also come to us on a regular basis to dialogue concerning anything that may need some addressing. And so we've kind of teamed up as a family. They say it takes a village. And in this scenario here with one night, or not one night, but hangouts, while it can seem like it's wasted time, like what my kids just come and hang out, yes, but the pressure's off and relationship starts in that space. And the 5 to 7 leaders that are here during that time are actively engaging on a level that the kids are often not even aware of, but they're paying close attention, and they're fostering relationship that ultimately culminates in small groups outside, off campus at small groups, and it's amazing the growth that my daughter's had. And I was a pastor growing up, and there's nothing worse than a pastor's kid, right? Well, I'm thankful that my child being raised in this type of environment, being seeker sensitive, has really come to a place where relationship has been fostered. And my experience with this, and I'm upset as the rest of you, it's just it's infuriating. And to know that he's still out there working a job, seemingly not experiencing any consequences, that's infuriating. We all want to see something happen on that front. But the reality is, and not to over spiritualize this in this meeting, is that at the end of the day, we're all people, and that's the one thing I've identified as what's wrong with the church. It's just full of So, but that going forward, there's grace, right? And we're called to come together and to move this ship forward, because the gospel's not worth throwing out because of an experience. And I think as we come together, God's got a plan for Vern. Personally, I forgive him for the wrong. I just pray that he comes to a place where he's reconciled with the Lord concerning this, and he doesn't fall away. But on the same note, I want to punch him in the face. So that said, I think it's important that as we feel that we need to be objective about the goal and future of this body. And this place is a safe place. If it is a safe place, it's a place like Seacoast Church. And again, we're just all in this together, and I just pray that as we come to resolve the issues and become better going forward, that we all remain a family, you know, and I just want you to know that your daughter is safe, as safe in this place as I could say she could be anywhere. That was a one-off. How many times has this happened in 35 years?
This is the only one I'm aware of.
Right, so that said, I mean, there's tens of thousands of people being loved on and served and blessed on a daily as a result of what's been built here at Seacoast. And so I just want us to keep that in perspective and just prayerfully consider the actions that we take going forward.
And let me be clear, this is not a grace meeting. We cannot tell you how fast to forgive somebody. That is not what this is about. Forgiveness is for you, between you and God. We're not going, that's not it.
Right.
I bless you for being able to do that. All of us are processing at our own speed.
Wes?
Josh, you and I have known each other for 20 plus years. T, 15, I've even known Stacy 20 years. I trust all of you. And with my kids, with all of my heart. What frustrated me about the reaction, immediate reaction to the whole thing, is that there were different kids with much different outlooks on what this was and what this was supposed to be and how they were gonna handle it. And I've told T this, but I'm saying it out loud because I want to bring it up in case anybody else is feeling it. I don't know if you were granted permission to share with the kids that day, or I don't know if you were asked to share with the kids that day. But either way, I don't think you were the man to do it. And the reason I don't think you were the man to do it is not because I don't trust you, it's because no man on earth has invested more into Vern personally than you have. And therefore, I find it hard. I don't see how you could be 100% objective in that moment talking to our kids. And I think that if the church asked you to do that, that was a misstep. The other thing is that Adrian's daughter came over to my house immediately after that service, and she and Malia were sitting on the couch, and they were telling, I got a phone call, I'll back up, I got a phone call. I knew about this before my daughter did, because I got a phone call from someone here at the church. And I'm sure that several people in this room did, but it's disconcerting. We have a small parent community at the Dream Center. Some of those parents were called and others weren't, and I think that was a misstep. Because we don't at Mount Pleasant, you couldn't call all the parents at Mount Pleasant, but here, we could have easily called every parent and told them ahead of time. The other thing is, my daughter left really confused. She posted a tribute video 2 days after the service. She was, I think T told me, the second person to do that. And because
A tribute to
Vern.
To Vern. Okay.
Vern, I'll tell you quite honestly, Vern was more important at this moment in my daughter's life to her than I am. And I'm sure that, I'm sure that'll turn around someday. But a 14-year-old girl, they're vulnerable, and they don't want to be vulnerable to their father. Vern was that person to Malia. And so her response was purely grief. Whereas other girls was shame, guilt, the things that you guys are experiencing. And, to hear that the girls were asked, and probably the boys were asked to write letters to Vern, that was frustrating. That was really frustrating. And I don't understand why or how that could have possibly been a good thing. It was explained to me that it was because we weren't really gonna give the letters to Vern. Right. We were gonna read them so that we could figure out, who needed help, maybe who had been violated. I think that that's a massive breach of trust. The fact is that my daughter walked away thinking that from that Sunday service, thinking that the church was encouraging her to reach out to Vern and to, in her case, console him. which is what she thought she was doing with that tribute video. That is confusing. It's confusing to a grown-up, much less a 14-year-old.
So, just so we're clear, what happened, and I expressed this to Wes, is that no one was asked to write a forgiveness letter or anything. We talked about Esther. We talked about how important it was for those girls to step up and say what they said, because they could have saved a whole bunch of other people from experiencing what they experienced.
Right.
We asked anybody who felt like they had something that they wanted to say to Vern to write it down, to which we gave to HR, that's been shown to our lawyer, that if the police ask for it, they will act.
Were the girls aware that it was gonna be given to an attorney?
No, they were not. And that part, we will apologize for. And again, this is our first time going through it, so yes, we made the mistake, but we made that mistake hoping that if anything were to happen.
And I don't think we had them, I didn't know we had them write letters. I don't think we had them write letters because we wanted to give them to the attorney.
No, we had it so they could express themselves.
Again,
Writing
we should have
letters
been
is a
here for that.
huge
I agree.
healing process. Huge.
Right, and it was optional.
And just to say this going forward, they don't ever need to share them unless that's something they say, I wanna share. They write it, destroy it. They've worked through a very small portion of this. But it's a very strong healing process. Journaling, same concept.
Gotcha.
But the error was made in taking the letters. They should have kept the letters and shared them with their parents or whatever they wanted to do. Never, ever, ever.
That's great, and I will tell you, again, I said it earlier, and it's not because I don't have confidence in T. Our mindset, we were in the middle of, we've been planning for months a transition for Jeff and T. We should have paused all of that. Like we should have just paused it all, and taken our time with that so that we didn't have a bunch of kids fall through the cracks or not parents that didn't get contacted. And so there's no doubt in my mind, on top of the minutia of how we handled and get the letters and what we do with those, that's all very helpful. I think the big picture for me is I also, I had Sammy commit to staying here up at the campus for 4 weeks just to make sure that we supported T and he didn't feel like he was out here on an island, any of that stuff. But I wish I would have handled that differently. And I think that a lot of the stuff that I feel like I'm hearing, I think could have been better handled if we had continuity of leadership through that major trial that we had versus, and obviously T's been here for a long, long time and knows a ton of people, but I just don't think we put T in a position to successfully navigate.
And Wes, we were trying to think, because I'm the one that suggested T speak up here, him and Melissa, because they're mom and dad, they have a kid in the program, and they're here. T was the former youth pastor. So T knew a lot of the kids because he was a youth pastor. T and Melissa are mom and dad, they have a child in the program. Not thinking of the relationship with Vern, but just thinking, it ain't good for me to come up here because I really don't know these kids.
Listen,
John's in Mount Pleasant.
As soon as you
Give you
said
grace,
that,
Sam, because it is short notice.
well, and as soon as you said that to me, Wes, it was like light bulb. Oh gosh, yeah, that's not, that's not.
And y'all know how much I love T. T knows how much
I know.
We
It
got
ain't
it
about that.
100%.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I also hope you know that I'm gonna do what's right for your kid, man.
I know you are.
And again, very few people at this church will be as close as I am to him. And he will tell you, when we had the conversation, the first person who said, hey, that's not legit, we gotta let him go, was me. Because I love your kids. And it sucks, because I'm getting off the phone and I'm bawling my eyes out.
T might have been the exactly right person to give that message because, and I say this with all due respect, nobody was hurting more than him.
Mm-hmm.
I know that, he was hurting as much as y'all because I know his heart and he raised the kid. It would be like your son. He was the right person to give the message because he felt what they were feeling.
Yeah.
Still not good PR.
Well, and
I need that.
but I also think that
No.
We're
I
not
also
talking
think that if
about
my
that.
child,
We should have been there.
Yeah.
if my child hurt your child, I'm probably not the best position to pastor you through the pain that you're dealing with. Yeah, that's where it gets hard, and it's like, it's just, again, I'm not arguing with anybody's feedback on that. I think that, I think we've learned, I shouldn't say this, but when Seacoast was 350 people, it was the biggest church that we'd ever been a part of. And so, we have learned a lot of lessons on the run, on the go. We have definitely have a phenomenal team who's, gifted in areas. I'm not trying to say we're a mom and pop deal. I think we have grown and all that, but man, this is something that, thank God, we haven't had to deal with. And I pray and believe that we will be better suited to deal with it. Even the feedback that you gave about the email, this is all extremely helpful. And I pray that will position us to be better to handle it in the future. In the back, you guys.
I want to start off by saying we love you all. Because it's a great place. I'm new here, but I love this place. So I wanted to offer a suggestion. One thing that companies do whenever there is maybe a coworker that inappropriately touched another coworker is send out emails. These are the steps that you should ask, and these are the steps that you should take. Maybe there could be a parent email to some children. Get advice from a grief counselor that has dealt with sexual abuse, and have follow-up.
He's taking notes, by the way. I don't want you to think he's ignoring you.
Yeah,
He's
I'm not
taking notes.
texting, I promise.
He's taking notes.
Sorry. I realize how that probably
That's
works.
Yeah.
They would have training for the staff, but they would also speak out to the people that could have been addressed, abused in the situation. So a follow-up email with, this is what you should say to your kids. This is how it should go forward. Give a few suggestions and ask the parents' permission. What can we do?
And it is, a lot of what, I don't know who said it over here, but, we have the great rule book, we have the culture guide, we don't ride in the car with other females and all these things. And so we've been racking our brain going, but how do we catch them? If he's messing up with it, how do we?
Checks and balances, man.
What's that?
Checks and balances. It's a supervision role. That's what it is, right? I'm in the Navy, 23 years. I lead sailors every day. I check on them. That's my job. I go in there and I check on those guys to make sure they're doing the right thing. When they're not doing the right thing? When they're not the ones looking. That's
Do you
it.
think Vern left here that night with a girl alone in his car? I don't think he left with one girl because somebody would have seen that.
He did.
I think he didn't.
Yeah.
He left with a boy and a girl, right?
She made him go get the boy when she realized she was going to be alone with them. He went and got picked up.
Really? Well, that makes me want to cuss.
Cuss.
I've heard that you were training your leaders, but what are we saying to the children? Because the new girl that came, I've been here 2 or 3 years, but my daughter just started coming to custom. I'm a teacher, and the district, has a policy for teachers, but also us teachers, the first few days, we establish rules of engagement with our students, and I think that has to be said.
Yeah.
In terms of what is considered, because every parent parents differently, and just general rules of, because maybe to me and my kids something is obvious because I've taught my girls since they were very, very little, not about stranger danger, but about danger in general. Don't walk on this side of the road and don't wear dark colors at night because people can't see you, etc. So, a guideline of if they find themselves in a situation, not just here, but in life in general, they can recognize before it gets to this point.
Yeah, I think that's
because
great.
If I'm unaware that what is going on is not supposed to be going on, I'll continue to happen. But if I'm informed, maybe us as parents, we are, not to say the word shy, but we tend to misjudge our kids about what they're capable of understanding. We are in the information era. Believe me, there is very little that your children do not know. They might not tell you, but I've had a personal experience with 11 and 12-year-olds that they know more than most adults that I know, like in detail. So maybe have a conversation in private in your homes, but also have the leadership come up here and establish, so when we're in small group, this is how we're supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Maybe
I think
have a video with visuals, because some people have to see the picture.
yeah.
I teach my students, like, don't touch any part of my body, because we all say my whole body is private. Like, don't touch my hair, don't touch my hand, like, ask consent. I remember we had a conversation, I believe it was last year, about porn and such, and maybe have a parent night with the children, not only those affected, but those, like, the whole group.
Yeah, I think that's great, and what we have to figure out is how to do that consistently.
Counselor, like she suggested.
Well, and so
manage the vocabulary.
That's great. Part of why, what I was going to say there is, because we have done that, but I think that to Sam's point or T's point of the average attendance of church right now is like 1.6 times a month. We have to figure out how to do that consistently where it's available to students, regularly. So I think that's great suggestions. And then I think the challenge, I'm not a professional counselor. I do know just from my experience as a pastor that when you're dealing with abuse types of situations, that it is really important to have professionals talk with these students, because the kinds of questions that we ask, the kinds of, like, we can sometimes inadvertently do more damage than good in helping. And so that's part of why for us, and again, I'm not saying it to defend, that's part of why we said, let's pay as much as we need to pay for counseling so that we can make sure that people who are professionals around this can ask those questions. And so I think, in my head, when I hear the question that feels so obvious, why didn't we get on the phone and call everybody that day and tell them, here's what questions to ask? I think the well-intended part of me did not want us to go and create a bigger issue than it already was. We were trying to figure out who has been impacted and get them the counseling that they need so that the correct questions could be asked in it. And I'm not saying that to defend, I'm just saying that the rationale wasn't let's avoid this. The rationale was how can we move forward in a helpful way that doesn't harm. And so again, I would do it a lot differently. I think we can get the exact language and questions to ask a kid that we don't know if they were impacted or not by Vernon this way. I think we could have figured that out and then given that to the parents to allow them. And so
one of the things that the detective asked me was, did you get any information about Seacoast protocols? I've been going to Seacoast since 2008. And so I was like, actually, like, something that would be helpful is a bag for custom students that has, you should not be talking to an opposite sex alone. Here's your Bible. Here's here's the numbers if you need this. Here is, do not ride in a car. You guys need a bus for this campus if they're going to be going back and forth to.
What we could do is, every kid checks in online, and as soon as a kid checks in online, we can send auto emails through MinPlat.
Emails, not everybody reads an
Send them
email.
with something in their hands. They need something to take.
Send the custom,
I'd love to get
whatever,
into-
what's
I'd
that
love to
called?
get into your hands as well, because a lot of times when we put things in students' hands, it
Yeah, don't mind that.
So let me meet your parent. Bring your parent up. You say the door's open, but I have this for you. Go get your parent and bring them up. Let me meet them.
If they're a first time parent.
That's a great idea.
And then they get this bag and it has the Bible, the protocols. You can't talk. I was like, this is weird. But if he's talking to her about baptism, that's
But if you had known, if we had
I would have
told
been
you
like,
that it was a violation,
red
you
flag.
would have
Right.
known.
Right.
The gut that you had.
Right.
would have
And
been
so I
confirmed with
betrayed myself,
communication.
is what I feel like too.
If any of you ever feel like something is out of whack, please just tell me. Like, I am
Problem,
super.
though, we did. I mean, we
Right,
tried to turn
I know,
love
but,
to.
it's- right, I hear you. But
Hey,
if
I
you do-
know we're losing people. What I thought we would do is like pray and dismiss and then keep, like, I don't even want to move it to, doesn't have to be private, but just so that you guys know, we've been here well over an hour. I want to make sure you feel like you can leave if you want to. And then we'll hang around because this is gold, honestly. I mean, that idea right there is excellent. And I think sending it via digital is good too, but to also get a physical thing is a no-brainer, easy thing that we can do
Right.
that would really be helpful in communicating expectations up front.
And I wanna say one more thing. February is Teen Dating Violence Month. For 6 years, I had sent an email to the leaders and asked to allow our speakers at my sister's house to come in and speak to the youth groups about teen dating violence. I think it would really behoove us to allow the students and the parents to listen to these educated counselors talk about what teen dating violence looks like. We don't know if we haven't experienced it. We don't know if you have a bruise right here on your arm to ask, did someone grab you there? Because you can bump into something on the inside of your arm. These are really, it's so important, and we're having more and more and more churches let us speak to them. Please
Great.
consider
Okay,
that.
that's great. Even if we
Please.
did a night for that where we told all the parents and students what it was going to be about, record it if you guys allow us to, and then have that available as a resource
Absolutely.
ongoing. But let me pray for us. And again, I'm not trying to hurry anybody out of here, but I want to be mindful.
Can I just a really quick question
Yeah,
that's kind of
yeah.
off? Like, so, summer camp. Like, I feel like I'm a little, I didn't probably ask enough questions when my child went to summer camp last summer. But now, this is, I probably need to, I didn't go to the information, everyone raved about it. I have tons of friends and our small community in Hanningham, like, a lot of people were, said, go, it's great, it's life changing, and it was for my child. But I guess now I'm like worried about how much people are, if there's opportunities, if there's enough female counselors, like, that kind of thing. I mean, I'm not trying to look for
No, I think it's a very good question and concern.
it's
And
kind of awful.
well, and even John could talk for a minute. I know that we wrestle with this every year. Like, is there going to come a day where, because even we've been talking about opposite sex relationship stuff, and the culture that we live in today, the assumptions we had about having, boys in cabins with boys, there's all kinds of danger that we're wrestling with. John's always working on it. We have a ton of security there and protocols. You can speak to that if you want
And
to.
I'm really fortunate enough because my next door neighbor is really involved here, so I feel like I am very blessed that I got to know a little bit more before when my child came in the door that day. But I also have heard that not as many people went to camp because there wasn't the numbers or there wasn't the fun, like another, I don't know if that's true or not, but that, if you could just speak on that, like the rate, like, counselors, leaders.
We have waiting lists of leaders.
Okay.
To go. And we have a ratio, so it's a 1-to-8 ratio. And then they're all background checked, they're all vetted, and we try to let small group leaders go first. So we reserve, because those people have had the relationship with your child. We don't let random people serve just anywhere. And we've got, our security has been heightened. So we have, I think it's like 12 security people this year, I believe so. And there is an opportunity when I speak to all the students for orientation where I say, if anything happens this week, you need to tell me. You need to tell your leader. We are safe people. We want to address it. It will break my heart if I find something out months, weeks later that has affected you and has hurt you. And we try to create those safe spaces to be able to share anything, to come forward about anything. we really try to train. Our training is at its best level, but we train that same way for our volunteers. It's the same training.
Okay.
It's just heightened and more.
Because I think it's not even just with someone that's older or as a leader, but as a peer. I mean, this could be their first time where they're around.
Right, we speak
the
about
opposite
bullying,
sex.
we speak about all the things, so
exactly.
it's not just a leader
Right.
being inappropriate with you,
Right.
it was a student
It's a
inappropriate,
peer,
was
yeah.
there something? And I've gone to the executive team, I don't think anything brings me more anxiety than our camps, because
Yeah.
it's just, we have, so many kids, and it's humanity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, but I've gone to the leadership and just said, in our current cultural climate, how much longer do we do camp?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
It's one of the most impactful things.
And we say we're gonna keep doing it, let's face, it's gonna get harder and harder, but we're gonna keep trying to figure it out until we get to a day where you can't, but that's,
You know,
I mean,
and we
that's
love
not
it.
us.
Camp, there's nothing like camp where there's notice they don't bring their phones, distractions are gone, and you begin to see relationships build, and the move of God in their life, and just salvation and what He does, and
Our kids were on fire for months and months. And we'd send you those pictures of Sunday morning with all of our football players praising God. And I mean, it was months they stayed on fire. I would hate to ever see it go.
Well, just to add something about camp, we had these little notebooks that anytime that we saw anything, anyone picking on anybody, anything that looked suspicious,
A
somebody
kid sitting
cried or
alone.
whatever,
Right. Yeah.
Kid sitting alone, we would write it down in this little notebook, so that we could, because so many things happen at camp, you will forget if you don't write it down. And we would write all of that down in a little notebook and turn it into, I think we turned it into,
our care team. So we have, and I can send you if you want our org structure of how we care for.
You know, we had a great experience, so I don't know reason, it's in the back of my mind now after everything that's
Sure.
happened. Is that all? That's
There's, granted, we can't determine what's happening in someone's own heart, but we have instilled in every cabin, every leader, that it's 2x2s. It's never alone. It's 2x2s. And we see things, we address things in the moment, and so we try to call it as it is when we see it. And so all the training is, I believe I have a parent panel that observes all my stuff, and they give me feedback. Am I missing anything? I'm a parent myself, and so we feel the training is at its best quality, but again, the human heart is one that we can't figure out, and so we try to avoid all of it.
Will you pray for us, just so that I wanna make sure you guys feel like your time was honored, and then we'll be here, so.
Father, I don't know if I have the right words, and I'm actually at a loss for words. I just pray for our girls. I pray for these moments that have marked them, and I just pray that there would be healing in their hearts and in their life, and it may be an easy thing for a person to just pray, but Lord, I pray that they would cling to you. I pray for these parents. I don't know what parents and what students. I don't have any names, but you know, and I just pray that you just be God. I don't think man's words are adequate enough to say how sorry I am, how angry I am, sad I am. And so, Lord, I just we give this to you. We give our girls to you. We place them at your feet. Place this church at your feet. And we pray that, Lord, you would just help us to just be better. Just be better. Lord, we love you. We love these people. We love your people. Lord, I don't have words. I don't have words. But we love you. And may you get all the glory. And may these young ones continue to love you. I pray that you would just heal that pain, God. In Jesus' name.
Thank you guys for coming to this generic custom parents meeting that we didn't communicate very well about what it was, but really am grateful for you guys coming. And my heart is, if anything, we will only be more committed to protecting the kids and get better at that, and that you guys would join us on that journey, and that we would do it together. And if you have concerns, questions, I mean, T's already said it, but just let us know. We're happy to talk about it. You can be critical of us while we're family, because we're gonna make mistakes. But we would ask you not to be divisive, in the sense that rather than like being family and talking about it together, that we, spread stuff. And so, and I understand that in the absence of a parent meeting, I'm not saying everything that's been done has been done. I'm just saying that from this point, like, let's move forward together, and let's do our very best. So, but you guys are dismissed, and then if you guys have questions, welcome to stick around and talk. I know you were gonna say something.
Yes, but I don't want to hold anyone.
All right, yeah, so, thank you guys.
So I was gonna say, as people are leaving, I was gonna say the last couple of comments were really good, and so like, again, like, you leave a meeting if you don't have action items, it's like, you
Right.
forget what you're
Right. I
talking
was
about,
writing action items
or
down,
what
but
you're
I
about
love
to
yours.
do.
Yeah.
So, I hear that you have the individual counseling available for the children. I hear that you hired Stacy.
I don't want to
You fired the other guy, that Stacy was your female